Record. All right, well, let's just get started, and whoever comes in late can watch the recording for what they missed. I'm not going to talk much today other than with my friend Tammie Slay. Tammie and I have known each other for many years because we both coach for a company called Workman Success Systems. And Tammie came in as a client to Workman Success Systems and was being coached by my dearest personal friend, Paul Sessom. Paul is a 25-year experienced coach and also real estate agent. He ran real estate offices, just incredibly experienced guy, and probably one of the most even-tempered people I've ever met in my life. Very grounded and in his shoes, if you know what I mean. So Paul taught Tammie about one of the basics that we use at Workman Success Systems called the Top 50. And I just want to, in my words, translate a little bit about Top 50. And then, of course, I'm going to let Tammie talk a lot more about it. But basically, Top 50 is about building a huge database, right? Check, everybody you've ever met, people that you saw in high school, like really getting a large database of hundreds and leading to thousands of people, and then carefully going in and handpicking your top 50, the 50 people most likely to give you at least one referral per year. That's my impression of it. But I'm going to tell you that Tammie resisted even being involved in that program. And I'm going to let her tell you about her successes with that program. And while today she is literally the world-renowned leader and speaker on this subject because of what she's accomplished. And she's taken it to such a huge level and really, really has taught hundreds of agents how to do it. The other thing is that a lot of these people are on my ramp calls that I do once a week that just start today is the first day, Tammie. And Tammie is also the most renowned ramp live teacher where she teaches by Zoom. You have to pay to do it, and it's pricey, but it's worth every freaking penny because you're being held accountable daily during the program. So it's a great program, a little different than what we do where we check in with you every Friday. But great program. I love her dearly. I appreciate her. I admire her, and I learn from her regularly. So Tammie, why don't you give us a little self-introduction, and we'll get started on the top 50.
That was an amazing introduction, Rick. I'm glad you had that recorded so I can just say, I just want that little snippet right there. I'm just going to play it every morning.
I'm drinking sweet tea in honor of you. So.
Because I'm from Texas and that's what we drink.
That's right.
Right. Well, hello. It is good to meet everybody. And I don't actually do very well when I just talk. So this is very interactive. So please just ask me questions and pause me. And before I even jump into top 50, I want to ask, because my time is best served and your time is best served if I'm actually helping you with your specific struggles or specific questions or anything you may just, be unsure of with top 50 or working with the Sphere program in general. So is there anything anybody has just really struggled with?
Well, let me help you with this first, Tammie. Okay. Some of these people have no idea what top 50 is. Right?
Okay.
This is what I call a free Friday coaching call. There are people on it from all companies all over the United States and Canada. Then the recording gets put into my YouTube link and hundreds of other people watch it. So for the sake of starting off, I'd like you to pretend nobody even knows. There's a few people on here who know what it is, but there's really nobody on it who's mastered it. So if you can kind of go back a little bit, and I don't mind kind of jumping in and doing this in more of an interview fashion, but I am able to supply everybody on here. If you did not receive the email, I'm going to put my email in the chat and you can tell me that you didn't get it, because in it, I put the top 50 initiative and the booklet called 86-50-1, which is called the top 50 booklet. How many of you would come off mute and talk about whether or not you got that stuff and you clicked on the links and opened the booklets? And take yourself off mute if you're trying to talk while you're on mute.
I don't think I got it, Rick.
Okay. Does anyone have the email in front of them? Okay, Cindy, did I put a link for the top 50 booklet in the actual email? I was pretty sure I did. Okay, good. So Tammie, would it be helpful if I pulled that up and shared my screen?
Yeah, or I can explain it. So if you want to pull it up while I explain it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead. I'll go get it and you just
Okay.
talk a little bit about it. So
the Top 50 program, or in our coaching world, is known also as 8651. And so those are three different numbers. And it actually originated from a gentleman who was working with just 50 people. He selected 50 of his closest friends and family. And in 1 year, working with those 50 people, 1 hour a day, he generated 86 closings from just that group of people. So he had success, and he didn't do this, going out the gate with just 1 year in. He built it up to where he was generating 86 closings, working with 50 of his closest friends and family for 1 hour a day. And so that's the whole purpose, or that's the reason behind the term 8651, 86 closings, 50 people, 1 hour a day. And as Rick already shared with you, when my coach first shared this with me, I felt like I did really well with my sphere. So I felt like, I'm not going to take it up to that level, because I felt like I had already done really well. And that's just where my ego came in. And I thought, there is no way, or he had to be doing something different. So the first year that I did this program, I would say I did it more passively. I didn't do it with intention. And I've added just a couple other little levels to it, but it's all within this book. And there is a tracker that Rick, you shared the tracker with them, right?
I will share everything in the email where we send the recording to this call. So do you want me to pull up the tracker also? Let me see if I can find that. Keep going.
And I have a tracker that's actually mine that I can share.
Could you, go ahead. You can share your screen. I'd love for you to share that. So guys, the booklet, whilst Tammie's talking, it was in the email, but I'll resend it out with the email when we send the recording, and I'll send Tammie's tracker if she, you can share that with me, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
Go ahead.
Okay. So this tracker was my second year, and you're going to see it's named after Charlotte. People use this tracker in different trainings because it's actually all filled out. And oftentimes we as agents get busy and we don't always fill our trackers out. But I had Coach Paul Cecil as my coach, and he regularly looked at this. And Charlotte's the name of my dog. So when they use this, they talk about the agent named Charlotte.
And you guys can, if you ever move to Texas, you can steal all her clients. So go ahead.
Well, the names are fake.
Oh, good. Okay. I didn't know that.
I wouldn't be sharing everyone. I should say that the names and birth dates are fake. Well, that is fake. So, and I slightly apologize, not fully apologize, but you may hear my grandson in the background because his mama had to work today and the daycare's closed for Good Friday here. So he is spending the day with me as I work from home.
No worries, darling. This is
this is a filled out tracker. This isn't a empty tracker. And I'm going to actually start this by showing you the results of this, and then we can dig into some principles. And so the first year that I did this program, I'm going to pull that up because I want y'all to see my first year of doing this. This is a slide I use. So the first year, this is me working at, I thought I was good. I thought I'm good at working with my sphere. I've got friends, I'm good. And so the first year of me pretending I was working the program, I generated 44 leads, 25 closings, and I ended that year with 10 pending.
Okay. Can I stop right there?
Yeah.
How many of you would have been, I'm going to raise my hand and say, I would have been very happy with 25 closings and 10 pendings in the very first year. And Tammie is actually intimating that this was a bad year. So, and her coach, I got to tell you, he's a driver. He's like, I think you could do it a step better. I think you could do it a step better. And now he is even shocked this year because I was at his house and something came in the mail from Tammie because he's on her top 50 list as an example. It's incredible. So this was your first year, Tammie.
This was
So
my first year.
yeah. So really what I need, since everybody on the call agrees with me that if they had this year, they would focus more on their top 50. Could you take it from there instead of going too much further and saying, what did you do in this first year? And how did you do it so that we can all experience, including me, a coach for workmen, this kind of result from your top 50?
So what I did this first year was I made a phone call to the 50 people on my list every month. And that was working it passively. That's all I did was I called.
That's 50 calls a month right there, which is more than 99.4% of all realtors make in a month. So right there, you were setting yourself apart. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay.
And all I did, think of it like the Ford script: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. I just called these 50 people. I didn't ask for a
And talk
referral
about them.
to talk about them. All I did was put myself in their lives every month. That was it. I just stayed present in their life every month. I made one phone call to all those people to talk about them and what was happening in their life. And that was it. No, that, and
Okay.
I was very happy with it. Paul was not, but I was.
Okay, but did you, when you did the conversations, you did 12 of them with each person. Did it ever, was there a conversation about you're on my top 50 and explaining what that meant to them?
No.
Okay, so all 12 calls, and Debbie Pelham saying that's less than 2 calls per day, but yeah, that still doesn't make it any easier for most people to do 50 calls because they keep the word 50 in their head, not the word 1 to 2 calls a day, right? Not the thought. But that was just it. You just had conversations and really didn't even talk real estate unless they brought it up.
Correct.
How powerful is that?
Yeah.
And then did you ever say, I'll talk to you next month at the end of the call?
I don't specifically remember. So I don't remember. It was not intentional. If I said it, it was not an intentional plan. The only thing I had intentionally designed to do that year was I called all 50 of those people and just, I could have talked about their graduations. I could have talked about, how was that vacation? Because the last time we talked, they were about to go on a vacation. So it was just being present.
So you were taking notes and tracking the notes so that when you called them the next time, you could look, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, that's so important right there. Do you remember also, Tammie, because I know this was a long time ago. Do you remember if you were sending handwritten notes to them after you hung up?
No, I was not sending handwritten notes. I know that because I don't like writing notes.
I see.
So I have somebody now who writes notes for me. That is not something I enjoy. And it's actually something I start misspelling words. And to get one good note card from me, I have to go through 6 that I tore up before.
Okay. Yeah. And knowing Paul, I can imagine that Paul's not happy that you don't like writing notes, right?
Right. Yeah. But Paul's never gotten a note from me.
I'll bet. All right. So guys, I can't see all of your faces right now because, because of we're sharing a screen, but please, I hope you're paying attention. And if you want to put stuff in the chat, I'm trying to keep track of that. Cindy's helping me. And Tammie, normally Selena is on here kind of running things for me, but she got on a plane to take an actual vacation today. So,
good for her.
Yeah. So, okay, go ahead now. Talk to us about going forward.
So that first year, again, I would say hindsight, I just did it passively. I was satisfied and I was happy with my results. And my coach, at the end of that year, he wanted to know why not more? Like, why didn't I generate more? And so I dug back into the book and there was one line in that book that changed everything.
Oh, I'm dying to hear this. Okay.
And it was.
Write this down, everybody, because you're going to get the book if you didn't already get it in the email. Go ahead, Tammie.
There's just one line in that whole book that's the most important line. And that was to ask these people for a referral, and not just ask the people for the referral, but to ask their permission to ask for referrals. So it's actually like you are inviting these 50 people to be a part of a select group. Call it an ambassador group, call it your fan club, call it whatever you want. But it's not to call people and check in with them. It's with intention. And so it's to get to the point where your relationship, and I'll show you how to do this on my tracker, but get to the point where your relationship is close enough that you are comfortable asking this person. If Rick were on my list and I were to, and I would say, Rick and I are very close. And I call him up one day, Rick, do you have a moment right now? There's something very important I would like to talk to you about and ask of you.
Okay, before I answer as a role play, I'm going to say that if I heard your voice, I don't even care if I knew you with that accent, I would have time all day long. So
I'm all day long.
yes, yes. How are you, Tammie? Good to hear from you.
I'm good, Rick. It's been a while since we've spoken, but before I get into some other things, I've been thinking about asking you something for a while.
Oh, go ahead. I
I've
feel
not
like
had
I
the
know.
nerve. So treat me gently, okay? Be gentle here. But as
Okay.
you know, my daughter Ella is going off to college, and I'm a single income household. And so the burden of the bulk of that expense will fall on me and on Ella. And I want to help her as much as I can. So I've started a new initiative that I'm calling my Top 50 initiative. And I believe in working that initiative in my business, I will be able to offset the additional money I need this year to help my baby go to college. Would you be okay if I call you every month and ask you if you've heard of anybody looking to buy or sell real estate recently? Would that be okay that I ask that question of you? Rick, are you there?
Yeah. I was making sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, absolutely, Tammie. I would love to hear from you once a month, and I would be very open to you ask me for a referral as long as you're open to me being honest and saying whether I do or don't at that time. Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. I am
Okay.
good with that.
Good.
So that one.
I'm so glad you said that, Tammie, because I was going to ask you for sure what would be one of the things that you would say and how you would say it. And not everybody here has an Emma going to college. Do you have any other suggestions?
Yes.
Go
So
ahead.
I have a coaching client, and he has said that. He goes, Tammie, I don't got a sob story. Okay. And I said, I get it. So what he did was he found a charity. It's the Boys and Girls Club. And he is sponsoring 10 of those youth to go to a camp to Washington, D.C. this next summer. That was very important to him. And so he has a personal tie to Boys and Girls Club. He has personal ties and experiences to doing summer camps as a youth and how that benefited him. And so this is important. So he led that year with, I am hoping to send 10 youth to a summer camp next year. And I am kicking at my business another notch and another level to be able to offset that additional money and earn it so I can support these 10 kids. So would you be willing to assist me in that endeavor by allowing me to call you every month and ask you if you've heard of anybody recently that's looking to buy or sell? Now, notice I didn't say, can I call you and ask for referrals? I said, would you be okay if I call you every month and ask you if you've happened to have heard of anybody looking to buy or sell? And that's it. And so what that did was the people he's calling are now a part of the mission of sending. He just included these 50 people to be a part of something big and greater and supporting these 10 youth going on a trip. And no, I mean, nobody has said no to that. And the people that I call, because what I shared with you about Ella, that's this year. That's my goal this year. And that's what I used when I started the year out, because I tell everybody what my yearly goal is. And these people are a part of helping me and helping my daughter get further education. It's not, I have big goals for my business and I want to earn, a specific level award, or I have big goals for my business and I want to, buy something big like a houseboat. I don't want to buy a houseboat, so that I don't know where that came from, but I'm not bringing people on that. I'm bringing them part of something worthy, a cause that's worthy, but that's real too. So we have to offset that. And in order to offset that, I have to work more. I have to generate more opportunities to serve more people.
Okay. So this is awesome. Does anyone ever say, now I know you've done top grading and things like that. So I don't want to interrupt because I know you got other slides, but do some people say, I prefer you don't do that or anything like that?
No, nobody has ever said that. And to this day, after all these years, I don't have 50 people that I've had that conversation with. Okay.
Oh.
So the relationship is not there with everybody. It takes a long time to get to that relationship. Some people, so think about your circle of friends, right?
Right.
Who do you have in your circle of friends that is so close to you that you could today, without any prompting, call them up and say, or ask permission to go there with your friendship? Like, how many people do you have? Do you have 50? Like right now you could call. And I didn't have that at that time. I still don't have that at that time, because it's not just 50 close enough that I can go there. It's actually 50 that I would enjoy talking to every month.
Yeah, because there is that.
There is.
You don't want to vomit in your mouth a little bit every time you pick up the phone. You go, ooh, blah. But
Yeah.
Okay, a couple things. Let's hold off for a second. Bernadette's got her hand up, but before that, Betty said, Tammie, I hear from people that they referred me, but I do not receive their contact information, then the call never comes. Do you do something in terms of instructing them that it's better to give you the name and number, not tell them to call you? What about that? And then we're going to go to Bernadette and then to Debbie. Go ahead.
So yes, I do. So in this scenario, those people that I've had this conversation with of, do I have your permission to call you every month? I don't invade that, and I don't ask for referrals from people unless I have permission to ask for those referrals. So that's number one. I don't use our friendship for that.
So do you say first permission to call you every month just to check in?
Permission to call you every month to ask you if you've
Okay.
heard of anybody looking to buy or sell.
Okay.
And when they give that permission, they have opened that door to allow me to train them. Because that permission is, once that permission is given, it is so easy. It is so easy because now they're on my mission. We're united. We're working for the same goal, and that's to get Ella off to college. Like we're working there. So when they start telling me, oh, so-and-so I gave your name to, I say, great. Can you call them right now or send them a text and ask, is it okay that you give me their contact information?
Good. So you're instructing them to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. So now let's go to Bernadette. Bernadette?
Thank you. So I don't know if I missed it or not. Do you work up to that? Do you do a couple months of just calling them and checking on them and doing the forward, and then you have that conversation with them?
Yes.
Okay.
Great question. So if you see my tracker, you're going to see this status column. This won't come in your tracker initially. This is something I've added.
Okay.
So you'll have to add this, or Rick, if you want, Selena to add this before sending it a copy out. But I have 3 statuses on here: apology, forward, and top 50.
Okay.
Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, like probably 90% of your people are going to start in apology. Start in forward. Okay. Those are people that you're friendly with. It's not awkward to if you see them at a coffee shop, to stop and say hi. It's not awkward to pick up the phone. It's not awkward to send them a text. It's not awkward to do that. You're close enough with them. Apology, though. Those are the people you avoid having that awkward conversation with because of something that needs to be repaired. And in our industry, it's usually a client that you had 7 years ago that you never followed up with from the closing table, and you have just lost contact with them. And that kind of conversation, it's someone you want to pick the relationship back up with, but a repair has to happen. And that's hey, Rick, this is Tammie Slay. You may or may not remember me, but I helped you move into 1234 Main Street 7 years ago. And I dropped the ball on staying in contact with you. And I'm sad about that. And every time I drive by the Trails community, I think about you, and I think about how we did a picnic in the middle of a vacant home in the winter time with your children. And I always remember that, and it brings fond memories. But then I hesitate to reach out because it's been so long. And today I drove by and I said, I'm doing it. I'm calling Rick and I'm saying, I'm sorry. I'd love to get a coffee. Would you be open for a coffee this weekend?
That's awesome. I love that one. And yeah, I do have an apology script, guys, that will, in the apology script, by the way, in every email that goes out, if you go all the way to the bottom of the email is the top 50 booklet. I forgot about that. It's in every email, the top 50 initiative, which tells you what you could do each month. And then the apology script is in there also. So all of that stuff is in every single email. Tammie, would you be willing to send me this as a template?
Yeah.
This particular tracker?
Yeah.
And then I can send it to everybody. Okay. And then did Debbie, did you didn't ask your question yet, did you? Go ahead, Deb.
Okay, similar to you, Tammie, and thank you so much for all of this information. This is so good. I moved to the area I'm in about 7 years ago, and everybody I know here is in the industry. They're either a realtor, lender, title officer, and everybody is very loyal to the local people. So I don't even think I have a top 20 I could come up with. And everybody, all my friends that I grew up with and everybody else I know is in a different region, which I could do the referral side of it, which I'm not opposed to that. But how do you come up with your list? Because you said you didn't have 50. How do you come up with your list if you're a little short?
That's a great question. And I'm going to tell you what I tell my coaching clients. The most important place to start with this program is to identify your number. Now, in this program, it's 50. It's 50 because it's just 50. It doesn't mean you can't have 20, but the percentages. So we know that on 50, 86 closings happen. There also comes within that, doesn't mean the percentage will play out when there's 20, because my greatest year on this was I closed 76. And so I had generated this is my third year, this is my second year, I generated 102 referrals in 1 year, and that closed out 76. Now remember, there's a little rollover. So, I had pending in 1 year. So it's not like out of that 102 that year, they all closed in that fiscal year of 76. It rolled over. But that was only from like 37 people. It wasn't from all 50. So I recommend you plug 50 names in, because it's harder to develop the behavior of time to call 50 people a month than it is to eventually find 50 people. So if your mama's on there 30 times, then call your mama 30 times in the month, because you gotta, the time management aspect of this is actually the hardest thing to get over. Managing, calling, contacting, eating coffee, or drinking coffee, whatever you do with 50 people a month. That's the hardest thing, is to find that time. Now, with where you're at, geography, I have not found to be a disqualifier. My highest referral top 50 member lived in Sweden. just barely moved to the US within the last year, but before that was in Sweden. And over the period of a couple of years, they generated more, they were my number 2 in highest referrals generated. And it's because the world is actually very small. And so people are in Facebook groups, people that maybe you moved someone out of the area and you moved them somewhere else, they're still Facebook friends with people in the area where you live right now. And even vendors refer. So get in contact with other vendors or put your body in places where it's less populated by realtors. But a fencing company, think about all the people vendor wise that know a home is about to go on the market before any realtor knows. Painters, fencers, carpet, companies, estate sale, put yourself in their presence. And, but I have actually found, people are not as loyal to other realtors as we like to think they are. Okay, so that may be a justification in your mind that you're justifying that everybody's going to be loyal to their realtor, and it allows you to use that as an excuse.
Right.
But I promise you, they're just not.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay.
All right. Okay. So Tammie, take us. Let's see. There's one question. Time-wise, when do you have the best luck getting people to actually answer your call? For me as a coach, I always tell people just call. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that, Tammie.
As you get to know these people, you'll know their time. Okay. So this isn't necessarily a program around what's the best time for me to call people. That would be like a Google pay-per-click or a Zillow. But I know who's a dentist, and I know I'm not going to call the dentist at 10 a.m. So you will get to know these people. These are people you intimately know their schedule. And so if you don't know their schedule, you're not there yet in the relationship, but as you get to know their schedule, you're going to know if a Saturday, an evening, a morning time, a midday time, you're going to know that. And then you will plug in. I promise you, when you're closing 76 transactions from this, you're going to plug them into your calendar around when they're going to answer the call.
And Tammie, you said in your first year, all you did was call 50 of them every single month for a whole year.
Yeah.
That means you're talking to one person all about them 12 different times. If you haven't gotten to what you do and when do you work, then you're not doing a good job of Ford as we use Ford. What's going on in your family? When they say, oh, my daughter was, she had COVID, but she's feeling better now and she's back to college. Then your job is to say, tell me a little bit more about that. Instead of just moving right on to the next subject, tell me a little bit more about that. And you darn well better be taking great notes, because when you write the handwritten notes that Tammie doesn't write, you're going to say something about the call when you write the note. And in addition, you're going to put those notes in your CRM, even if your CRM is a 3x5 card in a little metal box. You still can write all this stuff down. I mean, believe me, I am the excuse master, because I say, well, I got into real estate in 1980. All we had was a metal box with little 3x5 cards in it. There's no excuses. There's ways to do anything if you really want to do it. And somebody said, Bruce is one of my favorite people. He's most consistent. He goes, this seems so simple. What am I missing? And there's really nothing missing other than just doing the calls. And Tammie, do you find that by doing the calls each time, maybe sometimes the phone's ringing and you might be thinking, please don't answer, please don't answer. And you get to the point where you're like, it's just a lot easier and you're not worried about whether they answer or not. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, for sure. And the hardest thing about it is that it's so simple. We work things up in our head that there's got to be this magic thing, or, like there's got to be this action plan. There's got to be this magic pill or something. And honestly, it goes back to kindergarten. You're just making friends. That is just it. And one thing we tend to fall into in this trap is when we go on listing appointments or when we go on buyer appointments, we're trained to highlight our value. So I'm going to share with you all the value I can bring to you. This isn't that program. This program is, what value do I see in you? So I'm saying to them, what value are you? And do you know your value? And I'm highlighting to them, I heard you, I saw you, I listened to you. I want to be a part of your life. And it's not me calling them up and telling them I have some amazing system or I work best as a realtor. This isn't that kind of program. So when I first started, even still today, that I get so busy and so many other things that I think, oh, I got to sit down and make that phone call. And then I will also go, well, they love me enough. And that's how, and if you pay attention to a romantic relationship, you'll fall into that. This person should give me the most grace because they love me. So if I drop the ball on them, they'll still be there. And I have to overcome that even still to this day when I call these people, because I think, well, they're my friends. They love me. They will understand if I got too busy. And the truth is, I won't have a business if I don't protect that. But I do. I had one on there, and you'll probably see her name. Her name is Mercy Jones. And I never called her once the whole year. I put text every single month for 12 months. And at the end of the year, as I was looking at it, I'm like, why did I never call Mercy Jones? And the answer is she talks forever. Like, I get on the phone with Mercy and I'm going to be there for an hour. And I saw Bruce raise his hand. Oh, and every time I'm like, I got to call Mercy. Well, you know what? I'll go on a cruise with Mercy and have a great time. But when my business hat's on, I don't want to be on the phone for an hour. I want to wrap this up. And I had to fight within that myself. And someone says I do a ringless voicemail. You can't do that, Bruce.
Yeah, Sly Dog. What's it called? Sly Dog or something
Fly
like that?
dial.
Fly dial.
Fly
Yeah,
dial.
fly dial, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, so Debbie has one more question. Then Tammie, I want you to get to those slides because I know you said it. You went from 44 to something to something. I want you to show it on your slides. Debbie, what's your question, darling?
Well, I noticed on your tracker, you had different touches. So it's not just a phone call. Like if you can't get in touch with them, is it okay to do a note, a text? Maybe text is their preferred method, depending on their dynamic of work-life balance, whatever. Do you factor all of that in?
Not really.
Oh,
No, I don't. And the reason why, if I'm doing a transaction with someone, I will factor that in.
Okay.
When I'm doing a friendship with someone, no, I want to hear your voice. I love you enough. I want to hear your voice.
so absolutely phone call. So if you've done, I saw on your tracker, it said note card. So does that mean you've called them and you've sent them a note card?
No, no, that was probably a birthday card. And that was likely probably by my assistant. I do know after we do egging and booing, a note card went out, just, something about egging and booing, or I think a bulk email maybe even went out for that. I'll show you my 3rd year tracker, because I actually changed it from my 2nd year to my 3rd year. And I removed a lot of those things because I did notice I could get trapped into, and I'm still not perfect. So don't think that I'm telling you, that every month religiously, I miss a month. And there were months where, okay, it's their birthday, so they got a card, or we did egging and booing and they got, a gift basket on their doorstep. And I just didn't have the phone call. I've learned over time, really, what's most significant, and what's most significant is me staying present in their life. And that's the phone call.
Tammie,
or
Tammie, real quick, how many kids and grandkids do you have?
I have 4 children, and then I have 3 of my 4 married. So I like to say I have 7 children there because I have in-laws, and then I have 1 grandson and 1 7-year-old Black Lab Charlotte.
Okay, and then you coach how many clients?
14.
14 coaching clients, which is 28 hours to 40 hours a month right there with prep time and call time. And share your screen now and tell us the years and numbers on those real quick. This is probably one of the most humble, successful women you'll ever meet in your life. Like, she just is being Tammie Slay to her customers, to her church community. She's big in her church community. She's huge in the coaching world. Like, she does talks and everything that she's not talking about. Are you having trouble sharing your screen?
No, I just realized that slide I pulled up didn't have my third year. So I'm pulling up the second slide.
I
Okay.
just want to say I want to be on her top 50 list just because I think she's fabulous. I love listening to her voice.
Oh.
I think she's
Yeah.
amazing. So
Well, and you guys, we've had her boyfriend's been on here 2 or 3 times. His name's Cleve Gaddis. You guys have all heard Cleve talk on here. That's her boyfriend. We call them the power couple. Like, it's crazy. So, all right.
Between him and I, we have 11 children.
Yeah.
You want to
All
talk
right.
about a big house? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have a house. We don't live together, but
Yeah.
between him and I. Okay, so I pulled up my
Yeah,
ramp.
there's 40, go to 44. That was your first year. Second year, 94 leads, 57 closings, and 3 pendings. Third year, look at this, guys. This is her third year of doing it consistently. She's in the Dallas area, Debbie. So consistently, remember, Tammie will tell you this. If she did the same thing she did in year 3, in year 1, she wouldn't have gotten these results. It's a matter of building it up. It's a matter of consistency over time. I remember the first time I advertised in a Homes and Land magazine in the 80s, the lady said, Rick, you can't just advertise once a year. If the people don't see your ad regularly, they don't get used to you. And that's when I started to learn the power of consistency. I finally gathered the money to buy an ad once a month for a whole year. And the results were much better in months 9, 10, 11, and 12 than they were in months 1 through 8. This is the same thing. The more you're doing it, they're getting more used to it. Now they're getting trained to, between the month that you're going to call, they're out literally looking for referrals for you. Right, Tammie? And they joke with you about it. They go, oh, I knew the call was coming up and I hadn't found anyone yet, and stuff like that. Share a little bit about that, Tammie, because I know you've had experiences like that. That's why you're laughing so hard.
I know it is funny what they end up doing. And if we want to go into the psychology of this, is anybody familiar with RAS, the reticular activating system? And
yeah, Betty just mentioned it in the chat just now.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. So the book doesn't talk about this, but basically what you're doing in this program is you're neo-hacking their people. And we have funny conversations because I've got some people in my program who are like, okay, so how do you think this is going to help you? I'm like, well, honestly, and just to put it out there, I'm going to neo-hack your brain. And
What does that mean?
So
what does neo-hack mean?
So with the RAS, if you're talking to someone and they mention a new car model and you've never seen it, all of a sudden, like over the course of the next week or 2, you see that car model everywhere. And you're like, oh my gosh, everybody's driving that car model. Or if somebody were to say, do you notice that there's more white cars on the road? And you're like, I've never noticed that. Well, all of a sudden you're seeing all the white cars. I spoke with someone the other day that they said they saw a street that had my last name on it, and they never knew that street was there. It was in their neighborhood, and they never knew that street was there. But now they're new in my life, and they see the word slay more. So that street's always been there. Those car models have always been there. White cars have always been there. But the moment someone activates your RAS and they flip that switch, you're aware of it in your life. So over time, every month, by asking people, have you heard of anybody that's looking to buy or sell real estate? I've activated that switch. People were having conversations around them all the time before, but the switch hadn't been activated. And so now the switch is activated, and now they're like, oh. And so what you see here is intention on my part, but also an activation of a switch. And so by me, because before when I did this year, I was just their friend, and I'm still their friend, but I didn't activate the switch. The thing that changed from this year, that first year to this year, was I activated a switch. The book doesn't talk anything about that. And I don't know if the original creator even truly understood that he was neo-hacking and what that does. But people who are really good with marketing, and they know we got to activate a switch. And so we got to get that switch activated. And so this is the biggest difference. I got more intentional, but I asked permission to ask them if I could call them every month. That also meant that I created within me an inner accountability. If you don't ask permission to call someone every month, then you're not accountable to call that person every month. Oh, you may find, and you will find, many of you will find, you're going to resist asking permission to call every month because you don't want to be held accountable to calling every month. You want a get out of a call free pass. And so I'm going to activate your RAS right now, and I'm just going to call a spade, that you're going to face that. And you have to come up with your own internal dialogue as to how you're going to overcome that. And the best way to do it is just to do it and ask their permission. So I did wanted to show this, and in the tracker, I want to show this also because I think this is important. I'm going to sort, right now it's sorted alphabetically by name. I'm going to sort it by status because I want you to see. And so apology, these were people that were at a moment where I owed them an apology. Forward is the status where I'm not asking, I've not yet activated that RAS, and I'm not asking if they know of anybody. This line over here is the number of referrals that were generated that year. And watch this. And if you want, you can also watch the contacts because you're going to see a lot of whites. As I go down, as I go down into the top 50 status where that switch was lit, and I was calling them. I had a commitment that I was going to call them. It differed drastically in the number of referrals. And then let me get to my referral list over here. This is the people. So it'll automatically fill in from your list over there. And then you can put the name of the person they referred you here. And I just kept track of the status on my referral tab because I wanted to know where they were in the process. And that's what I did at the end of that second year. And then at the end of the third year, you'll also see, okay, so that's already sorted. You'll see the referrals, and I had more people in that, 50. And where the year ended there. And actually, I just, Verl talked about this morning, we did an audit and of all of these transactions. And so I'm so used to saying 76, and it actually ended up being 77. About 7, 8 of them, I can't remember because we went and did this audit and we had to go back in time and look at all the transactions. Some of them were referred out. So they weren't all closings here, but I had people that either knew people or clients that I was selling their home here, and I was able to refer them out. And so that counts. If money hit the bank, it counts. Some of them were even leases or landlords, but it was people who were transactioning real estate where money hit my account.
Wow. That's amazing, Tim.
Let me see.
All right, we have 9 minutes. So guys, this is a good time to ask questions. You don't have to necessarily raise your hand as much as unmute. Yeah, so there you go. Now you can see everyone's faces. So if you guys can unmute. Viviana, you seem to be enjoying this and grinning from ear to ear. If anybody wants to come off mute and ask Tammie a question, it's a good time.
I
Bruce.
just want to say I'm super excited to do everything you're doing.
Oh,
Like,
good.
like I want to just jump on the phone now. Thank
Hey.
you.
Yeah,
It is one, okay, so I did have a question, but I'm going to answer you, Viviana. It is one of the most, one, it's going to give you the hardest ROI, okay, because you don't have a lot of money invested into it, but it's so rewarding. And to work, I can't think of anything as a greater honor. And we say this, but truly the greatest honor is when someone close to me that I highly respect trusts me, either with their own transaction or with their mom or with their brother or with a good friend. When they put their name on that, it's just the most rewarding and highest honor. The other part is, like, I am, as many of us are, we're all busy. We carry a lot of hats. The time of conversion, when I think about working with a Zillow or a Sync or some Google pay-per-click lead or even an open house lead, the number of calls and contacts and time invested in just getting them to meet with me face to face, that lessens drastically. That lessens. So you end up closing a lot more. I do know there's a lot of people that are very fearful of working with their friends and their family. And I'm going to put my little coach hat on here and say, if that's you, then you need to dig deeper and take more educational classes, because you may find, and I'm going to leave it open to May, but I'm telling you, it's actually true, that you don't trust yourself to not botch a deal. And so you would rather botch a deal with someone you don't know and not have that work come to home to you. So if you find you're that person that always says, I don't want to work with family and friends, it's because you don't have the confidence in yourself that you're going to be the best person to work with them. And if you challenge that and say, no, I am the best person to work with them, then pick up the phone and call them. Because I had to also face that with my own self at one time, is I didn't want to work with people in my neighborhood. And what I found was the reason I didn't want to work with them is because I was scared of a botched deal. And I didn't want to see them in the PTA or somewhere when I messed up their deal. Because if I truly believe I won't botch a deal, then I would absolutely work with them. The question was also asked in here. Let me get back to it. Do you give a referral compensation for the leads to reinforce? And you're going to laugh. So I'm going to say yes to that. But what they get is they get a $5 Chick-fil-A gift card. That's it. So when they send someone to me, they get a $5 Chick-fil-A gift card as a thank you, regardless of whether it closes. When it closes, they will get a Yeti cup. Unless they've already gotten a Yeti cup. We have a few other things. We've got a custom game. We've got t-shirts, Yeti cups, a charcuterie board, but I do keep it under $50. And I know I'm not dealing with a title company or anything about the whole RESPA, but I do look at it. I don't make this about me necessarily buying anything from them. So I don't bring that into it. And the $5 Chick-fil-A gift cards have actually been one of the funniest little things, because I will get pictures of someone who took their whole family and they have one large lemonade with 5 straws in it. And they're like, we're treating the family to your gift card, Tammie. And there's 5 people drinking out of one large Chick-fil-A lemonade. I'm like, you're the best. Thanks for buying this for us. So it's actually been kind of funny. Let me see here. What do I got around here? I was looking to see. I thought I had. Nope, I got one. So this year, and I'm going to share this, when I share my results, I also recognize people struggle getting on the phone and asking for permission to call someone with nothing attached to it. And my team, so I'm a broker owner and I run a team out of my company. And I noticed my team, their results were not my results. And so digging deeper into that, I realized that they're struggling. They struggled within themselves, feeling like they had enough value just in their why, just in anything to ask these people every month for permission to call them. And so we created this year, and this is the first year we've done it, and we're seeing amazing results actually, but we created this year, and I'm going to show you a picture. So here's a box. It says exclusively for you. This was the last month. And it's a HIP's favorite things box. So every month for those people who opt in to allowing us to call them, they get a monthly subscription box, no cost. They just get it for free. And when you open it up, it says Hip Hip Hooray, and it has lots of our favorite things in it. So this last month, Girl Scout cookies, because we love Girl Scout cookies. And 3 of my team members are Scouters, myself included. And this is a hair mask that we all just love. And so it's for the hair and we love it. And this is my favorite type of gum. And I was introduced to this at a speaker's training with Paul Sessom. And he pulled out of his bag this container of gum. And he said, "You want some gum?" And I pulled out my Hubba Bubba. And I said, "Well, I'm going to offer you a piece of my gum. You can have some of my Hubba Bubba." And when I ate some of his gum and he ate some of my Hubba Bubba, which he never went and bought ever again. But when I ate his gum, I realized, Hubba Bubba goes hard like after 10 minutes. Tastes good though. But the Mentos gum lasts a long time and stays soft. So this is now my favorite gum. And I probably have 12 of these right now in my house. I have them in the car. All my agents now carry them. And that's my story. So every month a box goes out and then an email goes out explaining why the items in that box meant something so significant to the people on our team. When the people on my team were armed with it, and I know I'm right on the hour and I'm going to wrap this up because I know I got to go to another call too, but when the people on my team were armed with that, they were comfortable enough asking everybody to opt in and the results soared. So that if you're feeling like that's something you could do a monthly pop by, you don't have to do something big like we're doing because we've rallied resources for that. But prior to that, I never had anything other than my desire for the year, which this year it's sending my daughter to college.
Well,
Okay.
this is Tammie. I'm speechless, honestly. There was so much good information in here that I'm sure everyone on this call and everyone that gets the recording is going to watch it over and over again. You're going to send me your.
I'm just going to share it with you and you can copy it and do whatever you want with it.
Okay, good. And then everybody else there's a lot of gratitude here. This recording, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to send the recording out by probably Monday. I can't get it out tonight, but I can get it out by Monday. That way people have time to watch it. And Tammie, we'd love for you to be a guest anytime. And I'll reach out to you, maybe being a guest on our ramp calls. And we love you very much. And thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, we got to jump on another call. So I love you all. Remember to get the recording. Let me know what I can do for you to help you create a better business. Okay, talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Happy Easter. Happy Easter also. Bye-bye.